Welcome back to 305K and what is our final preseason episode. And I don't know about you, Tucker, but I am very excited for this season to start. We're going to have our Australia preview coming out later this week. It's an exciting time. 2026 is finally upon us. So,
Yeah.
got to,
I mean, we are just raring to go. There's so much that is uncertain still as we go into the first week of the season effectively. Obviously we haven't seen cars at their full potential yet, which is going to be really fascinating this weekend. I'm very excited for the season. It's going to be really huge. It's the first huge regulation shift we've seen since 2022, and it's one that I think has even more of an upheaval than that one did. We have all these new
yeah,
features,
absolutely.
change in battery, change in engine type, so many new things that are going to be coming into the sport, and so many new variables for drivers, including these new systems, aerodynamics, that should give them more speed on straights and hopefully bring down lap times. It's very exciting.
Yeah,
So we're
there.
just ready to go.
Yeah, I'm stoked. The one team that I think we might have already seen their full potential is Aston Martin because I don't think they're gonna finish.
Yeah, you sent me something earlier today that said that they're so in the dumps that they might not even be able to complete a full race distance. They might just putter around for a little bit and take it back into the garage just to get some data down. I mean, it's
I think that's what they're gonna do.
unbelievable.
It's crazy. This
Unbelievable.
is a Formula One team.
Hmm.
It's with
And
Adrian Newey
they're
designing the cars. It's unbelievable. Okay, we have
a
some
bunch of
predictions to
wasted
get to.
potential.
So we have best race, happy surprise, big flop, bold prediction, our constructors champions, and then our top five for the drivers for the year. Each prediction is going to be worth 5 points. Which hopefully at the end of the year we'll be able to look back and at like coming into Abu Dhabi last year, it was just a huge gap of points between the two of
It
us, which
wasn't
hopefully
wasn't that big. Please.
sorry, I'm
It could have been
disrespecting, but
it could have been worse.
it could have been worse, but
Yeah.
we're hoping that if we can get some of these right, it might shorten the gap. If who knows what's going to be at the end of this year, we'll see. Um, so think kick us right back, kick us off. Do are we starting big flop?
Sure, I'll go big flop, and I think this is actually going to be a little bit controversial. You know what? I know this is going to be controversial because I'm about to say that the constructors champions are going to go down. My big flop is McLaren. I think that obviously they have a good team driver wise, they have a good team aerodynamics wise. There's no reason for them to be a big flop, but considering the way that the other three teams were looking in preseason testing, that being Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes, they just look to be a little bit more on the front foot than McLaren. And I think that a big flop for McLaren is probably P3, P4 in the championship. And I think that's fair. I think
Mhm.
that they're not going to perform up to the standard that they've brought on in the last 2 years. So they are my big flop.
Yeah, I mean that's a good one. I'm interested. I'm very interested to see McLaren because they're coming off just this kind of little run of dominance, nothing crazy, but 2 years
Mhm.
constructors drivers last year. And I mean they were the clear front runner all last year. They killed everyone in the constructors last year. That wasn't close.
Yes.
Um,
Hmm.
so my big flop is actually gonna be the 26 regulations, which is kind of a shame, but I I don't think they're gonna be great. Like as much as I think they're gonna shake up the racing, and I think they're gonna provide for a very interesting season. But I think we're gonna look back and there's gonna be issues with it where we're gonna be like why did they change it? And the one where my head goes is the energy harvesting. I just think that the battery is getting depleted very quickly from what I've seen, and it just looks like I don't know. It looks like a very questionable system. So I don't know how these regulations are going to fare, and I honestly I
Yeah.
hope I'm wrong for this case.
Yeah, I think the really concerning things are the race starts, which looked really, really questionable with the time it takes to, fire up those engines and get going. I think it was also, like you said, in the slow corners, reharvesting the battery because the advantage of going slower might be greater than that of kind of pushing the car to its uh, full potential. So, like we've been saying kind of this whole time, it's going to be hard to tell until we really get racing.
Mhm.
And so hopefully it's better racing. The cars are smaller, which should help with that at the very least. But
Yeah,
we will see.
I think Monaco, just you mentioned cars are small real quick. I think Monaco, I hope is going to be a bit better this year just with smaller cars.
I agree
I
with
don't
that.
really know. Um,
I
That's kind
think
of
I
just a
think
random tangent.
yeah, I think effectively Monaco should be better, and we get into the question of how much better. So I
Yeah,
think that at least the regulation shifted up, gives more time for the guys in the factory to have some competition. So I think that's good.
for sure. Yeah,
The next one
absolutely.
we got is Happy Surprise.
I guess I'll start it. I have Lewis Hamilton winning a race. He's my favorite driver. He hasn't won since 2024, which isn't too long, but I think Ferrari are gonna have a good year this year, and I just hope he wins a race. That'd be great. I think Tucker will
I
be
mean,
happy about that one
yeah,
as well.
you don't have to tell me twice. I would love for Lewis Hamilton to get across the line first, a few times. Anyone from Ferrari, I mean, last year was kind of the biggest nightmare. We were sitting there as like one of the worst cars in the grid by the last race. So, um, my happy surprise is Isaac Hadjar, who is joining the Red Bull team from Racing Bulls this year. Um, and usually, if you look at someone on Red Bull and you think of them as happy surprise, I think that would mean, drivers champion if you're Max Verstappen. But the second Red Bull seat has been so terrible.
Cursed,
I mean,
cursed.
it has been cursed. And, I hate that the fact that last year I probably would have been in a similar situation thinking about Lawson, but I just feel like this year it's a good chance for Isaac Hadjar. It's going to be a car that's kind of on a reset, so it won't be
Hmm.
so tailored to Max Verstappen where it's just completely tailored away from the second driver. And I think maybe that could give him an opportunity to succeed in that car and kind of exceed expectations, especially because of how low they are right now for that Red Bull second seat after Yuki Tsunoda and Sergio Perez.
Yeah, absolutely. He doesn't have much to live up to. I think is kind of the thing.
Yeah, I
Perez,
think if he can stay in the points a few times, that would be good.
yeah, I do too. So next we have our best race of the year. I think it's gonna be Silverstone. I think that track always provides for fantastic racing. I feel like there's a couple of tracks you could kind of put, and they're always just gonna give you fantastic racing. And my bet is Silverstone. So
Yeah, I mean yeah, it's always a good bet. It's been one of the best races the last few years. I think it was one of, if not the best race, in 2025. However, when I think about not just the track, not just the racing itself, but the atmosphere, the meaning behind it, I think I have to point to a race that could kind of yield bigger results. And of course, that has to be the Italian Grand Prix. Um, I think that when we get to the Temple of Speed, hopefully in this season, Ferrari are going to be in a huge position, and whether that's leading the championship or neck and neck with a team with the championship, I don't really care. That race has to deliver for me. That has to be
yeah,
a good race for
yeah,
Ferrari. It just
it,
has to. And the crowd roaring on as Charles Leclerc wins that race for the third time in his career would be absolutely perfect and
unbelievable.
easily the best race of the year, no matter how boring the rest of it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I am through. I love. I'm Monza's gonna always have a special place in my heart after getting to visit, which I've mentioned 20,000 times on this podcast already. Um, so I
Mhm.
love that track, and it's gonna be great this year because I think we're gonna get like the fastest lap ever. I'm just very interested to see if the air, like not the aerodynamics, but like if the cars are going faster on straights, how fast they're gonna get at the Temple of Speed. Um,
Mhm.
our last is bold prediction. You want to start it?
Yeah, sure. My bold prediction actually is going to lead into our constructors and drivers championship discussion. Um, and it's relatively simple, but my bold prediction is that we are going to have a different team that wins the constructors championship than from the team of the driver that wins the drivers championship. So last year we had Lando Norris winning the drivers championship, McLaren won the constructors championship. I'm predicting that it's going to be different between those two, like it was in 2024 with Max
Yeah.
Verstappen winning the drivers and McLaren winning the constructors. And I will get into which I think is going to go where right after
Yeah.
your bold prediction.
Yeah. So, my bold prediction, I'd say it's pretty bold. I have a team other than the top four being McLaren, Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull winning a race. Um, I don't remember the last time we saw this. I want to point to
Dear Lord, I hope you're
Esteban
not predicting Aston
Ocon.
Martin.
Oh, was it? No. I don't have a team in mind. I just think a team outside the top four is going to win the race. my like gut says 2021 Hungary with Ocon winning might have. I I don't know if
I don't
we.
know. It's been a
It
while.
definitely wasn't 2023. It wasn't 2024. Nothing last year. 2022 have anything? I
I'm
mean,
not
we don't need
sure.
to think about this now. I don't believe it has though. So
It's been a
it's
while.
a very bold prediction. I Whether it happens or not will be very surprising, frankly. But it'd be awesome if it did. I think you and I
Maybe
can both.
Cadillac will pull one out.
Oh
That would
my.
be unbelievable.
That would be fantastic. It wins at Coda. That'd be unbelievable.
That would be incredible. Yeah. So I think we should get on to our, the kind of big two
Yeah.
in F1, but also in our predictions here. Who do you have for the Constructors' Championship?
So I'm gonna completely go against your big flop here. I have McLaren winning the
Oh,
constructors
please.
championship. No, I do. It it pains me. I don't like I don't mind McLaren, but I really don't like them, frankly. Um to me, they're on a Mercedes engine, which I think is gonna be the best engine this year. They have the best driver pairing on the grid. I think as much as you don't want to admit it, it's true. Um and I
Ferrari
just
have Charles Leclerc and the greatest driver of all time.
the
How can you
greatest
say
driver
that
that
Oscar
qualified
Piastri
P20 last
and
year.
Lando
Lando
Norris
Lando
is
Norris
the
won.
best
This
driver partnership on the grid? Are you kidding me?
is
Ferrari have the
blasphemy.
greatest of all time, and Charles Leclerc, who's
Oh,
definitely up there, as opposed to Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. Lando Norris.
Lando Norris. Yeah. I'm not proud of it, but I think that's probably how it's gonna go. Um, I,
Best
I
driver partnership on the grid. Are you kidding me? Unbelievable.
oh, unbelievable.
You
All
know what?
right, what do you have?
For my constructors champion, I have the best driver partnership on the grid. I have Ferrari winning the constructors championship
Oh
because the
my
car is
gosh.
there. And we've seen Charles Leclerc with equal machinery to Lando Norris. We've seen him in equal machinery to Max Verstappen, and he's dueled and outdueled both of them in some cases. And I think that given the good car this year, he's going to blow away some of this field. And Lewis Hamilton is a very good supplement to him, and they create a way better team than someone like Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri in a car that's probably going to be a little bit below Ferrari.
Oh
And
my
then also
God.
with Mercedes, who are probably going to be up there with Ferrari. Um, I think that
Yeah.
George Russell's going to have a stellar season. I just don't think that Kimmy's quite there to kind of
Yeah,
challenge with the big
that
boys
was
for constructors.
that held me back from Mercedes. I think they're gonna have a great year as well. I really didn't know where to go with the constructor. That was kind of where my gut went, but I don't really know. We'll see. I'd be glad to be wrong. On half of these predictions, I'd be glad to be wrong. Um,
I'd be
but
glad if you were wrong about the constructors. I'd be
yeah, I
very
would be.
glad.
Yeah, I'm sure. All right,
Should
P3.
get number 5 for drivers championship.
Oh, we are just I forgot we're doing 5. Yeah, you're not gonna be happy. I have Lando Norris here. I have him high up, but not up there. I think out of the very good drivers on the grid, he's completely the worst out of he's marginally worse. And it's crazy we're saying this about the guy that won the world championship last year, but
best best driver on the best driver partnership on the grid.
yeah,
I
I'm
have
never
his
gonna live that
teammate
down.
in my number. Never. I have his teammate in my number 5, Oscar Piastri. And Lando is in my 6, so he's just off the list.
Hmm.
Um, I just think that between those two guys, I think they'll probably be just about level on points. But I do think that Oscar Piastri is going to get a little jab back at Lando after last year. I think he's got a lot to prove right now because he kind of choked away that championship last year, and he's obviously young. He's got a lot of time left in the sport, but I think he's going to work hard this year and have a pretty good finish.
P4, what do you have?
P4, I have Lewis Hamilton, and
Wow.
I must say that this prediction kind of is out there, especially because Lewis Hamilton has not been as comfortable in this Ferrari car, unlike Charles Leclerc, who's been kind of at home with it. I think that if Ferrari can jump out in front with Mercedes and Red Bull, I think that of those second drivers, I think Lewis Hamilton is the strongest. Um, and so I kind of have him coming up in the 4 spot, maybe ahead of a slightly worse McLaren car that's kind of fallen back from the field.
Uh-huh. P4, I'm gonna go with Max. I don't know if that's low or high for you, honestly. I think the Red Bull's gonna be good. Um, I don't think it's gonna be as good as the next three I have though. And um I think Max could have a pretty damn good year. I don't think he's gonna win it though, plain and simple. But I think the racecraft is gonna kind of carry that car if it's a bit below average. So
All right. My P3, I have George Russell, and I think that
okay.
that's a little bit of a surprise. I'm guessing you have him a little bit higher, but I think that he's a fantastic driver. And I think it all depends. I think that my top three, any of them could win depending on where their car is over the course of
Mhm.
the season. George Russell, especially if that Mercedes car is the strongest on the grid, I think that he is definitely the favorite for the championship.
Yeah, I didn't want to cut you off there. I kind of hope I didn't. On P3, I
No, of
have
course.
Charles Leclerc. Um, so it may be a bit low. And I think part of it is I'm just having trouble trusting Ferrari after the years I've watched Formula One, which I know is like not great for you, but that's kind of the reality of how I'm watching right now.
I can
Of
see where you're
yes,
coming
they
from.
look good. Like, don't get me wrong. I think Ferrari could have a incredible year and hell, I think Shaw could win the championship potentially if it goes the right way. But after watching a Ferrari for like 3 years now, I don't really have full trust in them not to fuck it up. I mean, it's so that's
Um,
kind of where my
yeah,
head's at. I'll do my P2, and I have
of
Oscar
course.
Piastri here,
Wow.
which you could kind of see coming, and I have McLaren winning the constructors, so I think Oscar is going to have a great year. Especially if that McLaren's well, I think he's going to be miles better than Lando, especially after being in a championship fight for the first time last year. I think the experience is going to prove pivotal for him. And I think if the McLaren's there, he's 100% going to be up there. So
Wow. That's That's a strong take. I think that Oscar is definitely going to have a, comeback season, and it's hard to say that when he was third in the drivers' championship. But I do think that he has a lot to prove this year, and I think that he does have the potential and the kind of the gall to do that. My P2 is Charles Leclerc, and
mhm.
I wanted to put him P1 really badly. And I was choosing between putting him P1 and doing a different constructors champion. But in the end, I decided that I can't I can't put Charlotte Leclerc be one of my predictions. Just the history of this podcast and what happens when we predict people to do really well. I can't like my mental capacity and my conscience is stopping me from predicting him
Yeah,
for that exact reason. So
I
I have him P2, and I really don't have anything negative to say about him. He's the greatest. He's the best. He just got married. He
yeah,
got
I
married
did
on
see that.
February 28th. I don't know if you know this, but 2 times 8, 28, 16. And every
Wait.
single Ferrari drivers champion has been married. And it just seems like it's his year. It's the year of the horse. It's 2026, which is like kind of close to 16. I don't know. It just feels like it's all lining up for him. And this has to be the year. And if
This
it's not,
has
then I might pick a different sport.
it has to be the year. I'm crying. This is like that was just the most 26 is close to 60.
It's close enough. It has a
It's
six
close
in it.
enough. Okay. So driver's champion this year. And like he hasn't been picked yet. I have George Russell winning the championship this year. I think the Mercedes is going to be fast. I don't trust Kimmy enough to think that they'd win the constructors because of it. But I think George is going to be top dog, really running the table. He's going to have good bit of wins this year. I think five or more probably at least. I
Yeah.
mean, you'd have to have five or more to win the championship. But I think Mercedes is going to have a great year. They have a great engine. I think it's George's year. I think he's going to get his first.
Yeah. I mean, I can totally see where you're coming from. Like I said, I think that if Mercedes kind of go out in front, I think he's definitely the favorite to win. And I'm kind of hoping, banking on the fact that maybe that car isn't out in front of the field so much. Um, I must say, there is one guy who I've decided that I cannot bet against if there's any sense of a chance that he's there. And we learned it last year, and he didn't quite pull away with it, but it was one of the greatest comebacks we've ever seen in a car that should never have even had the business of being on the same track as the McLaren. Um, he won the championship the year before. He had one of the most dominant seasons in Formula One the year before that. He is by far right now the strongest driver in the field and will be at the helm of a car that seems like it's up near the top, if not at the top.
Yeah.
I think regardless of whether he has the fastest car in the field or the third fastest, if it's anywhere close, I can't see betting against him. So my driver's pick is of course Max Verstappen,
Yeah.
and I really have spent enough time following F1 where I feel like it has to be him. It has to be him. And I think that if the Red Bull car is within a quarter of a second in terms of raw pace of any of the other cars out there,
It's
he is
over.
good enough to win that race. And I
Yeah.
really think that that's true.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of time for the season. And I think a lot will come down to development more than anything else. But I do think that
Yeah.
Max Verstappen has the best chance of winning this year's Drivers' Championship.
Yeah. I think great. It's a great pick. I might have him a bit low. I don't know how close that Red Bull is to the top. I think was the only thing holding me back a bit. But I mean, I'm probably screwing up betting against Max in any way, shape, or form. That dude is an animal when he has a
Yeah.
fast car. Last year was spectacular to watch. I'm hoping this year will match that. I don't really know if it will. That has a
Yeah.
lot to live up
I,
to.
I mean, I think that the big thing that we're kind of all pointing at here is that we can't feasibly predict who's going to win the
No,
championship based on cars right now because there is so much time to go. There's probably three cars right now who I think look the best, and then I can throw the McLaren there for sure too. There are four cars that are really in the mix. That's eight
Mhm.
drivers over the course of the season. I think that a couple of those cars might jump out in front more than the other two, and we'll see kind of a split. But there's really no way to predict this, and that
No,
we're shooting
in the
blindly
dark.
here,
Yeah,
and that's kind of why it's fun. But
yeah,
that's kind of the beauty of the sport. We have no idea.
yeah. We, I'm so excited for this year. I mean, I remember seeing tweets in 2023 saying, "Can it just be 2026 already?" Just when Max was just having the absolute dominance, and that was the second year of the
Hmm.
regulations. I mean, come on now. Um, it's gonna be a great year. We appreciate you guys for sticking around with the preseason. I mean, it's been a long off season. 3 months, I know, just
Three
forever
months,
for
too
us.
much.
Um, but we're back. We're finally back. We're both stoked. We have a race preview coming this week, which I'm so happy to say. We
Hmm.
appreciate you
It's
guys
been
for
so
watching.
long. Yeah.
And we will see you later this week for race week in Melbourne. Thanks for watching.